We're heading into the most holy sacred time of the year in Buddhism, which is called Sagadawa. And I believe it starts, I think it's from the 11th to the 25th, but I'll have to verify those dates. Maybe if Junior or Valeria is watching, maybe you could take a quick look on the Chagdud Gonpa calendar and see if that's right, from the 11th to the 25th. Also, I think it's on Dharma dates, which is a very good site if you don't know Dharma dates from the from Lama Zopa's group, Foundation for the Preservation of the Mahayana. They have a site called Dharma Dates, which also it's very good for consulting just arbitrary daily decisions, like if it's a good day to sign a contract, if it's a good day to move, if it's a good day to cut your hair, hang prayer flags, those kinds of things. You can consult on Dharma Dates. Dharma Dates. Just Google Dharma Dates and it'll pop up. So this morning, we're talking about the soak offering in the Tara practice. And this morning we'll talk about the three different levels of the soak offering. Sagadawa, May 11th. Yeah, so it's the 11th to the 25th. Thank you. I don't know if it's Junior or Valeria this morning, but thank you. So there are three levels of soak offering: the outer, the inner, and the secret soak offering. So we'll start out with just a very brief introduction. What is soak offering? And then we'll talk about the three different levels of soak offering. So on the 8th and the 23rd days of each lunar month are especially auspicious times to perform a feast offering, or what's called in Tibetan soak, in the context of the Red Tara practice. Soak means gathering, the gathering together of practitioners who are maintaining their spiritual commitments, the gathering by invitation of the mandala of deities, and the gathering of various offering substances such as food, drink, lights, incense, flowers, music, etc., that embody skillful means and transcendent knowledge. Soak is an excellent method of making offerings and gaining merit. Meat and alcohol are essential, and these, along with the other offering substances, constitute the material aspect of the soak. So a lot of people, when they observe that we offer meat and alcohol in the soak offering, they many times question why we as Buddhists would make that part of our spiritual practice, the offering of meat and alcohol, and actually the partaking of meat and alcohol. So within Buddhism, we find many different layers or levels of teaching. And sometimes, if we don't have a professor to guide us through the different understandings, they can even appear contradictory. For example, in some of the sutras, the Buddha Shakyamuni praises and emphasizes the importance of abstaining from meat and alcohol. So, in that approach, it is completely appropriate to not eat meat and not imbibe alcohol. However, it's interesting to note that the Buddha made a point of never making a rule to abstain from meat. In fact, it became a a source of debate between he and his cousin, who was trying, his cousin was sort of always sabotaging the Buddha and kind of working against the Buddha out of jealousy and other rivalries. And his cousin questioned the Buddha on many occasions, why don't you create a rule of all of us that are followers of the Buddha need to be vegetarian? And the Buddha said, if people wish to be vegetarian, that's fine, but I'm not going to institute a rule, because there are people that, because of health reasons, because of geological reasons, because of cultural situations, they need to partake of meat. So I'm not going to make that rule. And his cousin Devadatta got very upset and actually created this division within the Sangha because of that reason. So the Buddha himself never actually instituted that rule. But on the level of Mahayana, it's completely appropriate to abstain from meat as well as alcohol. However, when we get into the tantric teachings, it's a different approach from a different level. In the sense that we are absolutely implementing the non-dual approach. Non-dual meaning beyond any dualistic concepts of clean, dirty, healthy, unhealthy, positive, negative, correct, incorrect. So it's a very high approach. So actually, when we offer the soak, it's appropriate to offer substances that on another level are considered impure or dirty or incorrect. And then when we imbibe of them, we have the exact same meditative and mental attitude towards them as we do towards what in other situations are considered clean, pure, correct, organic, tasty, as opposed to not tasty, sweet as opposed to sour. So in the practice of the soak, we practice transcending all of those concepts that bind us to samsara. So it's a very high approach that we need to be honest with ourselves. We're not just going to go out and eat meat all the time and have parties and drink all the time and say, well, it's all the same, it doesn't matter, because on the relative level it does matter, and we do create karma, and we can become addicted. But within the context of the soak, we suspend all those judgments, and for that moment, in that sacred space that we're creating, we establish our mind beyond all of those small judgments and rights and wrongs and duality. And we imbibe of the soak as one taste. So it's actually, for that reason, it's essential that we have some alcohol and some meat in the soak, because that is actually the point to transcend our dualistic concepts. The soak is then consecrated mentally as well as physically, reciting the 3 syllables Ram, Yam, Kam. Mentally, we visualize wisdom fire incinerating the material offerings of the soak. Wisdom wind then scatters them, and wisdom water cleanses them, so that impure perception and grasping at the seeming reality and ordinary characteristics of these substances are purified into emptiness. So Ram is the seed syllable for fire. Yam is the seed syllable for wind. For wind. And Kam is the seed syllable for water. So as we recite Ram, Yam, Kam, we visualize with Ram, the fire is purifying any impurities. The Yam is purifying with water, cleansing it away, and the wind is blowing it all away. So what we're cleansing is any impurity in the offering itself. So for example, in the case of meat, we have the concept, meat is bad karma, meat is impure, alcohol is dangerous, alcohol is bad. So with Ram Yam Kam, we purify all the impurity, all the negativity, negative aspects of any offering. Then that transforms them into perfectly pure Samaya substances. The levels of soak offering are referred to in the line, the outer, inner, and secret offerings amass like glorious clouds. We recite the syllables Om Ah Hung Ho. From emptiness, from the syllable Ah, appears a skull cup equal in size to the entire universe, within which the offering substances exist as the nature of pristine awareness. From their vapor arise clouds of offerings that fill all of space. This is the outer soak feast of an inexhaustible array of the 5 sensory pleasures. With the recitation of the syllable Om, the substances are transformed into the nature of the 5 meats and the 5 nectars. With Hung, the substances are transformed and consecrated as the nature of inexhaustible nectar of pristine awareness, expanding to fill the limits of space with clouds of offerings. With Ho, the offerings are imbued with the power to delight the deities. This whole process pertains to the outer soak offering. Then, the inner soak offering is made within the vessel of our subtle body's 3 channels and 5 chakras, with the Tumo fire, which is the mystic fire of inner heat, blazing upward and releasing a flow of pure nectar from a white Hung syllable at the crown of our head. This blending of white and red energy transforms into the nectar of bodhicitta, the union of bliss and emptiness, and pervades all of the subtle channels and chakras. Finally, the secret soak offering takes place within what is termed the vessel of the ultimate ground of all experience, atemporal and pristine. The soak offering arranged therein is that of self-occurring intrinsic awareness. The dynamic energy and radiance of intrinsic awareness manifest as adornments, spontaneously present appearances of phenomena.